Hi, and welcome to Your Inside Power. My name is Patricia Stepler, and we are going to be finishing up our talk today about Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Behrend. We've been working on this book for, oh my goodness, probably about 6 weeks now. And as we're working on it and thinking about this book, I want you to keep in mind that your mind is the center of divine operation, which is what Genevieve was trying to get us to understand, that we have everything inside of us. Just like my show's called Your Inside Power, we have the power inside of us to create the world that we want. So with that, we're going to conclude this book today and start on some other things in the next few weeks. So as I look at this, the chapter we're on today, if you have the book, it's chapter 14. And it's about how to make nature respond to you. Because, you know, these laws of the universe, they work for everybody the same way. If they're not working for you, it's because you're not understanding how to make them work. But we cannot change the laws. We cannot alter them in any way. We just can work with them, or can choose to ignore them and allow things to happen into our lives. So in this chapter, she says, it should be steadily borne in the mind that there is an intelligence and power in all nature and all space that is always creative and infinitely sensitive and responsive. So we have to be aware of that it's always there. And she says here that the divine operation is within oneself and accepts suggestions and expects all life to respond to your call. And you will find suggestions which tend to be the fulfillment of your desire coming to you. And when you enable that in your heart's desire, if you act upon them in confidence on this physical plane, faith without works is dead, but faith with works sets you absolutely free. And that's one of the things we've been talking about. You know, we can't just think about it and want something to happen. We have to change our actions. You know, I was talking to somebody today, and, you know, we talked about that, the very thing that we have to act in the way that we want in order to accomplish the good that we want in our lives. And we have to change our actions, because if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, that's the definition of insanity. And so when we want to have a different result, we have to have a different action. And as long as we keep doing the same things, we're going to keep getting the same results. So we must do something different. So that takes care of that chapter. A very short chapter. If you want a short chapter, it was 1 page long. So in the next chapter, it says the law of demand and supply, or supply and demand, cause and effect, can never be broken. Ideas attract to themselves kindred ideas. So that's a beautiful thing. So we can't change the laws. As I said, supply and demand is always going to be there. Cause and effect is always going to be there. And if we want to attract things to us, we attract things that are like ourselves. This is why we have to be on the vibration of what we want. So when you have an idea, and maybe it's a really big idea, I just added a new goal to my own list. And it's a really big goal. And I have no idea how it's going to be accomplished. I have no idea how it's going to happen. But if I can get myself on that vibrational level, then everything's going to come to me. And that's what this is saying. We tend to attract that which we want when we get onto that plane of thought. But if I stay on the plane of thought I'm on now, it's just a wish and a dream. So I have to get my thinking to the reality of it's already happening. Easier said than done. That's why so few people do it, because we don't ever really get to that point and things stay as a wish or a dream. So we have here, it says, and behold, along comes another idea from no one can tell where, and finds friendly lodging with your idea. one idea attracting another, and so on until the desires are physical fact. Isn't that beautiful? So we don't know where these ideas come from, but one idea attracts another idea until the desire becomes a physical fact. It's exciting. We just have to get our thinking into the right feeling, and not just our thinking, but we have to become that person. You see, that's a difficult thing. We have to become the person. She says here, you hold to the statement or affirmation that the best and all there is yours. Since you are able to capture ideas from the infinite through the instrument of your intuition, you let your mind rest upon a thought, knowing full well that this very thought will respond to itself. And then you attract to yourself the I can, the I will ideas, and gradually grow into physical form of the desire in the mind. And I would say not the I can, but the I am. When you go to I will, sometimes that puts in future tense. And, I see this all the time when people are writing goals. In fact, I was on a website of how to write the best goals. And they were using I will. I will is not a good way, because that's putting it out into the future, and it doesn't become a more immediate, and it doesn't feel like it's now. So we want to use I can or I am. So she goes on to this conclusion. First, all space is filled with the creative power. And we've talked about that. There's this energy. I'm just going to call it energy, substance, whatever you want, that permeates and penetrates everything in the universe. Thought held in that produces a thing that is held by your thoughts. So we have to believe that. And that says the creative power is amenable to suggestions. And third, it only works by deductive methods. So we have to, get it into our subconscious mind. And she says here, and she quotes this, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And this becomes a theme of hers from now to the end of the book. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. We have to be that person. And this is, this is what I usually tell my clients. You have to become the person you need to be. You can't be who you are now. And some people talk about being reborn. Well, I'll tell you what, reborn, I was studying Neville Goddard. Neville Goddard talks about reborn in a way that I've never heard it spoken about, and it made so much sense. We have to be reborn to the person we want to be. We have to be willing to give up who we are now and become the person we want to be in order to accomplish that goal. And that's what being reborn is. So she says, Treward says, if you think your thought is powerful, then your thought is powerful. If you think your thought is powerful, then your thought is powerful. So if you think yourself is X, then you are X, if you think that way. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, is the law of life, and the creative power can no more change this law than the ordinary mirror can reflect back to you a different image than the object you hold before it. As you think, so are you, does not mean as you tell people you think, or as you would wish the world to believe you think. It means your innermost thoughts, that place where no one but you knows. None can know the Father save the Son, and no one can know the Son but the Father. So we have to be that person. We have to not only say, we can't just say something and be somebody else. We can't think the good's going to happen, but inside doubt it. You can't have two opposites and both going in the same direction. You can't go east and west at the same time. That's what he's saying here, and what Genevieve's saying. You have to be aligned with the good that you want. You have to be aligned with who you are. Says only the reproductive creative spirit of life knows what you think until your thoughts become physical facts and manifest themselves in your body, your brain, or your affairs. Then everyone will know you come into contact may know, because the Father, the intellectual creative energy, which heareth in secret, hears your most secret thoughts, rewards you openly, reproduces your thoughts in physical forms. As you think, you know, that is what you become. Okay, isn't that beautiful? So that's basically what she's saying from now to the end. You know, you have to become that person. It says, my Father is the ruler of all the world and is expressing his directing power through me. If you think that, you know, if you think God provides for the birds, why wouldn't he provide for you? Are you not as important to him as the birds? He's going to provide for you too. So we have to really think of our mind as a center through which all creative energy and power is taking form. It's in our mind. We have that power inside of us. Ask believing you already have received and you shall receive. You know, I was thinking of this when I was doing my gratitude this morning. I was writing down all the things I'm grateful for. Well, a lot of them I couldn't see in my reality. I'm still grateful for them because I know they are going to be my reality. And the more I can be grateful for the things I do not see and do not have, the more that will draw them to me. Why? Because my mind is the center of divine operation. My mind is focused on those things. Everything has its origin in the mind. And we've talked about that. Everything starts first in the mind. It's an idea. You may have something in the ether that, you know, brings that to you, but everything starts to form in your mind. And that which you seek outwardly, you already possess. You already have it. All you have to do is reach out your hand and grab it. It says the thought form of the thing is already yours as soon as you think of it. It's already there. If a thing is true at all, there is a way in which it is true throughout the universe. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As you sow, you shall reap. It goes back and forth like that all the time. So we have the first cause has endowed every man with the power and ability to bring into his personal environment whatever he chooses. It's your choice. You've been given the ability to choose. As far as we know, we are the only part of the kingdom of creatures that has that ability. We have that ability all the time. And that says you always get the manifestation of that which you consciously or unconsciously affirm and claim. What we habitually declare and expect, or in other words, as you sow. Therefore, sow the seeds of I am, I ought, I can, I will. Realize that because you are, and because you ought, and you can, and do. God has given everything, all is yours. And you know that all you have to do is to reach out and take it. Reach out mentally and accept it. It's all you need to do. You are affirming this fact, believing that since you are thinking this, it is already yours. So you have to live in that idea, live in that fantasy of what it is that you want. Live there. You've got to be there first before you bring it into reality. And sometimes when you live there enough and then you actually accomplish it, it's like, I feel like I've been here before. It's like a deja vu. You feel like you've been there. You are made in the image and likeness of love. So keep this cleansing thought in mind until you feel that you have freed your consciousness entirely of all thoughts and feelings other than love and unity and humanity. Deny that it is unlike your desired manifestations. You know, don't let that disturb you. you're made in the image and likeness of God, and that you already have your desire fulfilled in it first, its original spiritual or thought form. This is just such a beautiful conclusion to this book. So then she says, remember that the greatest mental scientist the world has ever known, Jesus Christ, said all things are possible unto you. And he also said, things I do, you can do. So we can do those things. He said, you could do the same if you would only believe in yourself. How often do we have to talk about, building your self-image and building your confidence and believing that you can do things? See here, it says, all power, both over thoughts and conditions, has been given to you. You believe in God, believe in yourself as a physical instrument through which God operates. Absolute dominion is yours when you have sufficient self-mastery to conquer the negative tendency of thoughts and actions. And that concludes that book. And it just kind of finishes it off there that, we have to get rid of those negative tendencies that we have. We have to start believing that we can have what we want. Most people don't believe it. They might consciously realize they can, but they don't subconsciously believe it. Why? Because you have inside of your mind, you've been programmed. You have been programmed, just like your computer's programmed. And your mind has been programmed into what you believe. Why is it that many families believe the same things and the generational beliefs keep happening? Well, it's because that's the way you're programmed. But here's the beauty. You have the ability to change your programming. You just need to know how. That's where I come in to help. I help people to change their programming so they can become the person they need to be in order to accomplish their dreams. So if that's what you want, please reach out to me and let's have a chat and let's see where you are now, where you want to be, and let's develop a pathway of getting you there. This is Patricia Stepler with Your Inside Power, and I want you to be the magic in your dreams.